What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a film that was released in 2023 that I was very excited to watch. I saw the trailer for this movie and it looked like something right up my alley. For starters, I'm a huge fan of period piece films. I love films set in different time periods that have a lot of attention to detail when it comes to costume design and even in the way people speak and in the dialogue. I'm just fascinated with films from different eras, and I was also very excited because the central focus of this film is cooking. And a lot of you out there don't know this. I haven't really talked about it on my YouTube channel at all, but I love to cook. I wanted to go to school for culinary arts initially, and I didn't go to school for culinary arts, but I went to school for my first college degree for hospitality management. So I took a lot of cooking classes and learned a lot of technique when it comes to cooking while I was in school. And cooking has always been something that's been very important to me. And so I love movies that really centralize around the art of creating food, because I think, like other passions like making music or making movies or painting or any of those things, crafting a really great meal is an art form, and it takes a specific type of talent to be able to do that. So seeing a movie that has a love story as its focus but is really honing in on the technique of creating food, I was really excited to watch this film. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is The Taste of Things. The Taste of Things is directed by Tran Anh Hung. Set in France in 1889, the film follows the life of Dodin Bouffant as a chef living with his personal cook and lover Eugenie. They share a long history of gastronomy and love, but Eugenie refuses to marry Dodin, so the food lover decides to do something he has never done before: cook for her. So, as I said, I was very excited to watch this movie when I saw the trailer for it and when I read the plot description, and this movie is incredible, and it's probably one of my favorite films of the decade thus far. This is a movie that really hits a lot of hallmarks of things that I absolutely love when it comes to filmmaking. It's a very quiet film. It's a very slice of life film, but there's so much attention to detail and the way that the camera captures moments between these characters that it feels very authentic. And the portrayal of love between the two characters in this movie is remarkable. And it's less of the dialogue that they have between one another, but it's the way they show love and compassion for one another that is just so impressive. And there is a specific sequence, I'll talk about it a little bit later in the review, that is one of my favorite things I've seen in a movie in quite some time. Just truly remarkable filmmaking, and I'm excited to talk about this movie with you today. So at the beginning of the film, we are introduced to Dodin Bouffant, played by Benoît Magimel, and Eugenie, played by Juliette Binoche. And the two of them live at this house together, and Eugenie is Dodin's personal chef, but they are also in a relationship together. And in the first 15 minutes of the movie, we see Eugenie crafting all these incredible dishes and creating all of these recipes, and Dodin is in the kitchen with her, and they're prepping these meals together, and they're smiling and they're laughing, and they share in this passion for food. But at the same time, we can see, while Eugenie is prepping a lot of these, just the stress that she has from making the meals and just the preciseness in the execution of the recipes to make the food as perfect as it can be. And so we get to see the relationship between the art and the artist, and how, as much as she loves cooking, it can be difficult and it can be challenging. And so we get that very long process at the beginning of the film, and we see Dodin has a bunch of his friends come over and he eats with them, and the courses are presented, and his friends want Eugenie to come eat, but she says, I have to be back here. I have to focus on the plating and the recipes. And so they spend a bunch of time together, and then we get to get glimpses into Dodin and Eugenie's relationship. And they're very close. They are totally and completely in love with each other. But for some reason, Eugenie will not marry Dodin. And we don't really 100% know her motivations as to why she doesn't want to marry him. And so the main crux of the movie is he decides to cook a meal for her, while at the same time, this very important prince comes to their town and wants to have a meal at their house. So they're simultaneously prepping for this meal while Dodin is trying to impress Eugenie. And so that's the main crux of the movie. So as I said, I think this movie is remarkable, and it is one of my favorite films of the decade. For starters, the performances in this are exceptional. Both lead characters. Obviously, Juliette Binoche has been acting for a very long time, and she is an absolutely incredible talent, and that's no exception in this film. Every scene that she was on screen, she was just so charismatic, and she is, in the sequences that she has to cook, you can really see the passion and the love on her face, but you can also see the moments where she's hyper focused and anxious about how the meal is going to turn out. They have someone who helps wash the dishes and prep the meal who brings a young family member over, and we get to see sequences of that young family member interacting with them and learning how to cook meals, and the excitement on her face learning how to cook, and just this passion for food. And I think both our lead characters do an exceptional job at living and breathing these roles in a way that feels very authentic, and that's something I really loved about it. The cinematography in this is beautiful. I loved the color palette of this movie. It's very warm and inviting, and they do a really great job at capturing this feeling that people with passion for food have when they're in the kitchen. And the way that the meal prep is shot is in a way that just allows the camera to capture all the technicality in creating specific dishes. We don't necessarily get told right out of the gate, oh, this is what's being made, and sometimes they'll explain what the dishes are, but it's really just you seeing someone's passion for food and seeing the final product. And I talked about this early on in the review, but I am someone who loves to cook. My grandmother, who is long since passed now, was the person who really got me to fall in love with cooking. And she loved to make things homemade and from scratch. And I watched her and the love that she had for prepping food and creating meals, and the satisfaction that she got out of seeing people enjoy her food. And that is honestly the reason why I fell in love with cooking and why I wanted to originally go to school for cooking, because I love making food for people and I love seeing people enjoy the food. And if you're having a horrible day or something is wrong or things are going badly, a meal can make someone feel great even if it's just for 20 minutes. And there's something so beautiful about food in that regard that I don't think gets captured in cinema as often as a lot of other art forms. But similarly to painting or creating music or creating movies, it takes a lot of effort and time and energy and trial and error to perfect something. And I think this film really captures people who are masters of their craft, really honing in and focusing on it in a way that just feels very realistic. The other element of this film that I absolutely loved was the love story between Dodin and Eugenie. What's beautiful about it is they have dialogue sequences, but so many small moments between them, whether that be a touch or a glance or meeting each other. They sleep in separate bedrooms, meeting each other in one of their bedrooms. Like, the love that is captured here is done in a way that you can just feel it. It's incredibly palpable. It's less of like, the constant, I love you so much, I love this. The dialogue is very beautiful, and the way they talk to each other is beautiful. And the sequence in this film where Dodin cooks for Eugenie, there's like no dialogue for 20 minutes. And it's him cooking and meals being presented to her and her expression, because no one hardly ever cooks for her. She's the one who's prepping all the meals. And it is one of the most beautiful expressions of love I've seen in a movie. Just to do something when you're known for something, being a cook, and that's all you ever do, and you're prepping most of your meals for yourself, to have someone say, I want to do this for you, and to do it in a way where you can see the love and the time and the energy put into every single course of the meal that's presented to her. It's a very beautiful form of love towards another person, and I was in tears through most of it, more like happy tears of like, it was just remarkable to see that type of love conveyed on screen in a way that felt very natural and realistic. And the film does go in a direction towards the third act that really kind of has a dramatic pull, and it was honestly a lot more gut-wrenching than I had assumed that it was going to be, and it really took me by surprise. And I loved where the movie went, and kind of having a passion for this thing, the passion kind of going out for a bit, and then you essentially having to reshape your way of thinking about this thing that you love in order to not lose the love for it completely. and that correlates to the relationship between our two lead characters. And it's just a beautiful movie. I saw a lot of people online compare it to My Neighbor Totoro, which I understand because My Neighbor Totoro is this slice of life movie just capturing these joyous moments with these characters. And that is what most of the film is. And it's really easy to get sucked into the world and be immersed in this film. And I just love this a lot. I'm hoping Criterion picks it up or someone does a really great physical format because I cannot wait to buy this movie and watch it over and over again. And it is remarkable. And I would say if you have any interest in the culinary arts whatsoever, you enjoy food or how food gets made, or you just love period piece romance films, this is 100% going to be up your alley. So have you seen The Taste of Things? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was incredible. I loved it so much. It's one of my favorite films of the decade thus far, and easily would have been in my top 5 films of last year. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.